Hey, it's Mrs. Donahue. I just wanted to make sure that everyone is following expectations for completing assignments and for completing assignments with all of the requirements. So what I want to point out is a few resources that VHS does that makes it really easy. So first of all, if you go into the lessons and if you start in the weekly overview, what I want you to pay attention to are two things. First of all, I want you to look at the weekly checklist. So you can click on that, and it's a resource that literally lists everything you need to pass in, everything you need to do. And as you finish it, you can click on the checkbox, and you can hit the Save button, and it will save it for you. You can also print it. If you are better on paper, print it out and have a paper copy. That's fine. But this is a way for you to ensure that you complete every exercise. The other thing that I'm noticing that people are missing out is that when you're doing the exercises, you're not completing them to their fullest. So first of all, you're always going to want to look at the overview and see what's due and the point value for each, because that's good to keep in mind. And you're going to hit the next button. So our first exercise for this week, for week 2, was to do an introduction to programming using NetBeans. And so there was a tutorial that you were supposed to do, and you were supposed to download NetBeans and go through the tutorial. And when you do that, you should have something like this in the end. So I have 2 print lines, and I put a comment in my code. So right here is my code comment. And I run the program, and I see the hello world, which is my first print line. And my second print line says print how are you, and it printed that. And then you're going to do things with this program later on. But for right now, we're going to go back to the first requirement. So in 2.1, you're going to do the NetBeans, which we've done. We've done that tutorial. Excuse me. And then in this green area, it tells us what we need to do. This is really important, and I feel like a lot of people skipped that. So what I do is I did something in Notability. I normally do this on paper, and I just usually draw little check boxes so that I know what I'm doing. So when I go through this, I read this assignment. For this assignment, you're going to edit your Hello World program, and you're going to add a few more print and print line statements. So if it's saying a few more print and print line statements, I know a few means 3, because couple is 2, several is 4 or more. So it says few, then that means 3. So I know that I have to do 3 statements, and I expect to see at least one example of print. So at least one example of print, at least. So I put up here, 1 has to be print, so I put that separately. And then I need to have 2 more of either print or print line, and it doesn't matter which one. Remember, print, we'll just print it across, and my cursor will stop right there. So if I said print, and I put the word print in quotation marks, it would just print the word print, and my cursor would be right after there. Versus if I did print line, it would print that, and then my cursor would drop to the following line. So it depends which ones you want to use. Those are the 2 options. And then it says also declare a couple of variables. So we just said a couple means 2. So we know we need 2 variables. And so I did 2 checkboxes here for variables. And then there's another requirement. And then use them in your print and or print line statements. So I have call the variables twice. So in my program, not only do I need to have what was already there, so I need to have those existing 2 print lines, I need to add in 1 more print and either 2 more prints or print lines or 1 of each. I need to create 2 more variables, and I need to call those 2 variables in my print line statements. So when I'm doing my programming, I'm going to go back through and make sure I hit all of these requirements, and I'm going to check them off as I go. So that way I know when I pass my assignment in, I don't need to wait for the teacher to tell me that I did a good job. I know that I did a good job because I know that I went through this assignment and I've pulled out all of the requirements. I also need to know that I'm going to where I'm going to submit it, and this one's going to go into Dropbox. So I need to put this one in Dropbox. And I know that I'm absolutely going to get 30 points for this. And if I run into any problems, guess what I'm doing? I'm putting a private message out to my professor, or if it's something that I think my classmates can answer, I can say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Anyone else having trouble? Anyone have any ideas for me? And I might be able to get answers more quickly than if I sent it in a PT message. And that's all you need to do. So this is what I expect you guys to do for each assignment.